My name is Mahshid Lutfi. I am a nutritionist by training and have worked a lot on different international nutritional issues. Currently, I am a patient advisor and partner with the University of Washington.
My name is Diane Johnson. I've always lived in the Seattle area. I've also had a number of different careers. One of my favorite jobs has been since 2013 when I started working in research with Group Health Research Institute and worked on a study as a patient partner in breast imaging and for women after breast cancer.
My name is Rich Block, and professionally I'm a systems and software engineer. I'm also a long-term patient of chronic kidney disease, something called polycystic kidney disease, or PKD.
I'm Janice Tufte. I'm born and raised in Seattle, and locally I have started or founded 6 projects that you could say address the social determinants of health.
My name is Bonnie Bazell, and currently I am the chair of the Patient Advisory Group for CODA. That's the research study comparing the outcomes between drugs, antibiotics, and appendectomy. And I've been involved with patient and family-centered care advocacy work for a little over 10 years.
Partnership to me means meaningful, active engagement in all areas of research.
There's value in that in large measure because the patient really does understand something. They have a perspective, they have a facet of understanding of the disease state that a lot of researchers maybe don't. I certainly know that a lot of physicians that I work with don't necessarily know what I go through on a personal level. I'm different, we're all different people, and so we all experience things differently. And so those sort of individual facets of who a patient are or who a patient is really need to be part of that collaboration. And so really partnership is the key here.
I think patient partnership means that you're more actively engaged. When people are participants in research, often it's just a passive role, but it doesn't engage you in the actual work of research. Patient engagement asks the patients to be involved in defining the questions for research, to be involved in how do we find the answers to those questions, and also to be involved in how do we pass that information on to other patients. I think it's important that patients are involved in each aspect so that really the end result of the research helps improve the lives of patients.
There's various opportunities for patients to be involved and to be partners. They can be stakeholders, they could be patient co-investigators, they're able to be on advisory panels. Patients have the ability to be partners at all different levels, and the more penetration we have of patients within the health systems at all different levels will bring more relevance and personal experience to the actual projects that are being utilized at the time.
Patients should and do play a major role in research. As far as I can tell, scientists bring 50% to the whole thing based on their scientific background and researches and experiences, but they don't know what happens to a patient, someone with, if they don't have that condition themselves. They never know how it is to live with a chronic disease, how it is to live with pain day and night, and see that most of your abilities are gone or reduced, becoming you feel disabled somehow to different degrees. So the role of patients here is that they bring that type of information to the group.
Patients need to be there from the very beginning because it's there that you can actually create those questions and know those issues that patients will need to make real decisions later on. So I think their role needs to be active. I think it needs to be engaged. I think if you're involved as a patient with a research project, it's almost incumbent on you to help be that guide for other patients and families out there to make sure that they understand the information that's coming out of the research study and also know that this is an option. You can become part of this. You can help direct research so that it better impacts everyone's lives.
Participation in studies and being actually involved in research are very different in that when you participate in a clinical trial or in a tumor study, it's a passive work. You just allow your treatment to go forward and you don't even necessarily know what the results are in the end. Patients who are involved in research get to be involved in all different kinds of aspects of research. They get to hear about how the research is done. They get to help form the question. They get to help look at ways to involve patient opinions throughout the research, and then also how to disseminate that information to other patients.
When you are actually participating in a clinical study, that has to do with your body and you are trying to bring something forward for the actual medication or treatment. So if you're a patient partner, you're really involved at all different levels, and your voice is just as important as the other members of the science team. You are truly a partner and not just perhaps referred to as a subject.
If there's a patient who wants to become involved in research, sometimes it can be a little tricky to figure out how to get started. I think one of the best ways that I found was get to know who are the advocacy groups for your area of interest. When you start to relate to them, perhaps they'll have some information about where you can sign up for studies. If you see a way to volunteer for a focus group or a survey, those are beginning ways to see how you can become involved.
Patients can get involved in research from various perspectives. They could either ask their doctor, they could go to their hospital, they could go to their facility where they receive care. They could also go to a university institution and they could ask if there is patient advisory panels that they could be involved with, or if there's opportunities to be involved at other levels because their voice is important and it is needed to be heard.